Hey, Tony Chips here, Chiappetta Shoes. This is a workshop live. Today we got a nice little quickie. Lovely customer, D11 foot type, good medium low arch, not a super flat foot, right in the middle, solid lower arch, flexible foot. She has a pair of Fin Comforts. Lovely lady, took a little spill at her last trip to Las Vegas and fell pretty hard. In shape, no issues, you know. From a mechanical standpoint, D11 foot types are typically, you know, your medium low arch, but you're nice and even taking a step. Hips and knees are balanced really well. But what we noticed with this customer, she's had a number of falls recently. And what we have going on here is what I see is kind of an over-supination. There's a little bit of a wobble and there's compensation kind of happening at the heel, turning to the outside. Now a D11 foot type, a flatter foot, typically has too much pronation or rolling in. Watching her walk, we didn't see the navicular bone drop, we didn't see too much pronation in the rear foot or the midfoot, but we see her kind of compensating by kind of wobbling to the outside. And history of falls lately, it's not a good thing. We don't want any falls whatsoever. We have to help stabilize the foot. So Fin Comfort, she's got a bunch of the Fin Comfort Gomeras, works really well, but these recent falls have become an issue. So what we're gonna do today, great thing about any sandal has a removable insert, we can modify these very easily. So we're gonna take this insert out, we're gonna clean it up on top, but we're gonna add two minor adjustments. This is a great stabilization tactic. We're gonna add longitudinal arch bar and a cuboid bar. Something simple, nice. These have a good amount of contour to them out of the gate. They mold really well to the foot. You can see she's had some nice wear on these, but she needs a little extra oomph. So we're gonna take it top down. Now, with any kind of cuboid bar, because we're wrapping against the edge, I usually like to use a closed cell foam or cork that is gonna mold really nicely. Now, we have the left foot started, and we're gonna do a 1-inch multi-cork piece right there, and we're going to integrate this longitudinal arch bar right down the middle, and starting at, you have your heel bone right here, cuboid, 5th metatarsal. Most longitudinal arch bars should start kind of right at that joint where the cuboid meets that that 5th metatarsal. And sometimes you can start it back a little bit if you want to impact the base of the heel. A lot of times if we're going too farther back, we're going to do more of a full arch bar or a heel bar where we're holding the foot. And that's if you want to elevate the front end, the distal end of the calcaneus, so you can put a bar here. Right now we're kind of working at this zone right here and right through this spot. So with that being said, we're going to cut a little notch so we can just do this in one sitting. All right. Now, I'm going to take that other piece right there. And D11 foot type, it's out of the 24 different types of feet that are out there in the wild. You have kind of the easiest time with C10s and D12s. They're the least problematic of the bunch. Even perfect feet have problems too, so you always got to keep that in mind when you're talking about making changes and assessing feet. You know, there's all different kinds of feet out there. We all walk differently, and perfect feet can have problems too. All right, there we go. Now we got to match everything up. Feet measure the same, so from a mechanical standpoint, we're going to match these up nice and nice. And 1 1/4 inch. Okay. Perfecto. Excellent. Okay. So longitudinal arch bar, you know, if we have a D12, D16, you're dealing with a lot of pronation or internal rotation of that arch. C10s, D11s, and then anything kind of down the middle section of the system that we use are typically relatively stable. When you get into the A6s, the F24s, or F23s, you're still getting some overcompensation a lot of the times, and a D11 foot type is usually pretty stable. But looking at this lovely lady, the history of recent falls is never a great thing. We got to take that pretty seriously, and we do see some over supination in this. So pronation is usually the common situation for this type of foot, but we're kind of rolling to the outside, and that's usually a compensatory movement. So we got this glued up here. So longitudinal arch bar down the middle. Got a cuboid bar on the side. Fin Comforts are amazing sandals. From a contour standpoint, they have some of the best shape on the market. So looking at how this is built with, they have longitudinal arch support, metatarsal, medial, a little bit of a lateral bar. Birkenstock still runs the roost when it comes to that full 4 arch contour. But Fin Comforts are very close. So we've got 2 little mods, cushion cork 3 mil, longitudinal arch bar, multi-cork 55 durometer, lateral cuboid bar. That's what we're going to work with today. We're going to bring you right back and we'll get this wrapped up. Hey, Tony Chips here. We're back again, Workshop Live. We have a D11 foot type over supination, not commonly caused by a D11 foot type. What we have is a recent history of falls, tilting to the outside, probably a compensation for not getting enough longitudinal middle section support. We have a lovely fin comfort insert, which is what she fell in last time. We have a little modification profile, longitudinal arch bar, cuboid bar. Very common recipe for success with a situation like this. We don't need to add more scaphoid pad or arch support on the medial side of things because we're not necessarily dealing with not enough medial support. It's more down the middle section of the foot. So we're going to take it top down. We have a cushion cork material. It's cork and rubber. Works great. Common piece is what we use for our modifications in the Workshop Lives. 3 millimeter, 1/8 inch doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a whole world of a difference. So we're just kind of trying to bump up that middle section and the lateral spot. Cuboid bars are, for some reason, very uncommon when it comes to the world of modifications, and they're very effective for anyone out there in the medical community that wants to learn a thing or two about a retailer that's been around for 105 years. We've been doing this for quite a long time. I have my master cobbler right here in front of you. That's Pete. Hey, say hi, Pete. And then there's Joe over there in the corner. But yeah, we've been doing this a few years. So these modifications are very easy and successful. You can do them in any retail setting. And again, we use the multi-cork on the side there. We want to be able to wrap up nicely around that edge. Perfect. Okay. Now, one little tip for anybody watching that sells fin comforts. We're going to take this to the Scotch-Brite wheel and give it a quick little sand. It helps clean them up just a little bit. And a little extra pressure. So 2 pieces there. Take you over to the grinder. All right, that's going to be a wrap. D11 foot type fin comfort insert, over supination compensation for a little bit of instability and wobbling, too much supination, turn in the heel and ankle, fall history. We got a nice little modification profile, longitudinal arch bar down that middle section, cushion cork with a 3 millimeter, both 3 millimeter, multi-cork as a lateral cuboid bar. We have it wrapped up nicely against the side, not leaving too much, but just enough to sit inside of the shoe and push up on that spot. Top section, if you're ever wanting to clean a fin comfort inserts. We use a Scotch-Brite wheel. It just kind of brings the nap up really nicely. That's not done. This is done. So you can kind of see the difference right there. That's a wrap. If your feet hurt, ain't no better than Chiappetta. Make us your first step with solvent foot pain. Ciao.